I hate that you feel that like sex is that important to you, because what happens if your person, like, something happened to them and they can't meet your sexual. You're married now. Like, at this point, are you gonna divorce that person because they can't meet you sexually?
You mean like if they were to get into like an
Yeah,
accident or
something
something?
to the point like they can't have sex with you. Like, what do you do in that case?
I mean, that would be a very unfortunate situation, but like you said, if you're at the point where you married this person,
Yeah.
then I think you have a duty to stand by the,
Okay.
you know what I mean, and y'all figure it out from there. You know what I mean, like whatever the case may be. I always say, and I promise I mean this: if I were to ever get into an accident and I could not please my woman sexually, and sex meant something to her,
Okay.
like, go get what you need. You know what I mean? Like, we could figure that out. You know what I mean? Especially if it's like a for life thing. You know what I mean? Like, let's say, Lord forbid, knock on wood. Let's say I'm 30 years old. Let's say we get to 33, 34, and I have that kind of accident. We have literally another whole lifetime to go.
Yeah.
Like, I don't expect you to live your life sexless for the next 30, 40, 50 years. I think that's unrealistic. You know what I mean? And so I would hope that my partner has that same type of like realistic mindset. I'm not saying let me go do whatever I want to do whenever, you know what I'm saying? But I do think that, like, you know what I mean? Like, especially like if my wife wanted kids and we didn't have children yet, like, we got to be realistic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want you to still be able to have the life you saw for yourself. And I don't think it's right for me to stop that just because something happened to me.
Yeah. But I feel like when you get married, you become one. You take on each other's burden.
For
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? Like, it's like, yeah, I can't have a kid, but hey, we can go adopt a kid now. It's like,
Right.
I feel like me personally, I would try to make it work to the best of what I can do. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't just bail out.
Yeah. And I don't think there's one solution to this type of situation.
Yeah.
I think when stuff like that happens, there should be an open discussion between the two people of like, what is the best thing for us to do in your situation. You know what I mean? And so, yeah. And so to kind of put a bow on it, you know what I mean? To kind of put a bow on it, like, I don't I don't want my partner to feel pressure to perform for me sexually,
Okay.
but I'm acknowledging that yes, sex is important to, yeah. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, and I don't want a partner who's going to shame me for that. I don't want a partner who's going to side eye me for feeling like that. Like, it is what it is. This is how I feel. I'm being honest about it. This is what I feel like my needs are. And you can either accept it and we can talk about, you know, how we're going to go about that and stuff like that, or whatever, and we're going to move on, because there are women with high sex drives, you know what I mean? And there are women who are unsatisfied with their men's sex drive, you know what I mean? And so I think sometimes when a man says certain things, it comes off a certain type of way.
Yeah.
And I think women probably explain things a little bit softer in a little bit more of a digestible way than what I just said it. Because I think it came off just now that I was like, oh, sex is like top 3. I need that. Like, no, it's just not how it's coming off. Like, no, sex is in my top 3 because it's very important to me. Like, one of my love languages is physical touch. I express my love to my partner through sex. You know what I mean? So I want to express that feeling frequently. You know what I mean? And so it's like I need someone who's on that same frequency. And I have had partners who are on that same frequency.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah. And so now that I've had situations where we were equally yoked in that area, I don't feel the need to be with someone or force a situation with someone who I'm not equally yoked in that way with.
Okay. Since you have had those partners, right, and I'm assuming, it didn't work, right? And that's on your top 3. What was missing out of that, right? They met you sexually needed, like the sexual was there.
Yeah.
Like, what made y'all not be yoked anymore? That's what I'm trying to
No, I've been in 4 relationships in my entire life, and those relationships ended for very different reasons.
Okay.
But I would say that sometimes you don't know how important something is to you until you're not getting it.
Okay.
And so it's like, all right, I can compromise and I can deal with a lot,
Okay.
but there's certain things that is just like, damn, like this is a really important thing to me, or this is something that like, they say life's best teacher is experience. You know what I mean? And so like once you get into these relationships and you experience certain things, like all right, like the next time that I live with somebody, which I live with my girlfriend before, like we need more than a 1-bedroom apartment. Like
Okay.
I need a space where I can like detach and go to my own corner, and she can do the same. You know what I mean? Like I need a decent sized space if I'm gonna live with my partner again. So it's just like something like that. You know what I mean? To where it's like, all right, you run into certain things where like I've heard of situations where a dude and a girl love each other. They live together and they realize like, damn, like you only wash dishes once a week.
Yeah.
Like damn, like you don't fold laundry like every day. You know what I mean? So it'd be like small stuff that you don't realize is important to you until you get into their relationship and you're like, damn, like okay, this is something that I actually need somebody to like fix, or I need this person to fix. And if they don't, like this relationship is not gonna work. You know what I mean? But when you think about the things you need in a relationship, a girl who does dishes every day or every other day isn't something that you say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when you experience it, like, damn, like she kind of dirty. Like, I don't like that. You know what I mean? So it all depends. Like it's situational.
Okay. So for me, like I stayed with 2 guys in my entire life, and I would never do it again. But I get what you're saying. Like it's kind of get you a glimpse of what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And the reason why I don't want to stay with anyone else again, because it's like I feel like it kind of ruins things. At the same time, yeah, you get to see certain things, but it just ruined it. It just ruined it for me. Like
What you gonna do when you get married?
I pray that this is the person. Okay, when I get married, I feel like it's gonna be certain things where I'm gonna be I'm gonna know in a sense, because I want to date and get to know this person. I'm gonna go to that person's house and things like that, and I feel like that person could only fake it for so long. So I would rather not move in with someone, because I've done that before and it never worked.
Yeah.
It just ruined it
Yeah.
for me. Like I just get completely turned on. Like you said, you realize that the person's like dirty. It's like, this person does this thing this way. And then even like you said, when it comes to like maybe having more space so you can be able to go to another room or something. But I just never want to stay with anybody again, because I have experienced it and it's one of the worst experiences of my life.
Anything else on your mind? Any other questions?
We didn't even get to talk about like the whole millennial thing. And I do want to clear this up too, because when you asked me like what we were talking about sex before marriage and things like that, and the reason why for me I want to wait as well, because like it's a emotional, like I want to get to know a person on a different level than sex, because I feel like when it comes to like, we think intimacy is just a sexual thing.
For sure, man.
And I would prefer to get to know a person like on a spiritual level. Like sex is spiritual too. I feel like that just amplified things as well. But
Yeah.
I feel like I never give myself time to actually get to know a person without getting to know like their body, or them getting to know my body. Like I used to literally think that sex can change a man, like in a sense. Like I used to think like, oh, okay, like if I please him sexually, like this will give me X, Y.
I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of how it works for me though.
Okay, elaborate.
Like sex is important to me, and not just on a physical level.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like when I like okay, for instance, one thing that my girlfriends or my relationships had in common was that like once we started to become regularly sexual, like once we started to be physical on a consistent basis, that starts to make me look at her as like, damn, like she mine. You know what I'm saying? Like this is my girl. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like, it's not about like, oh, like I can get that whenever I want to. Like it's literally not about that. It's like you're willing to give me yourself in that physical of a way. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, it is spiritual. Like there is a out of body experience that is happening when you have sex, if you're having it the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Drika was just talking about how like sex is healing. You know what I mean? And like there have been certain times where like me and my girl have sex and like I feel physically better than I did before. You know what I mean? Or like I feel healed because me and her just had sex and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, for me, like when me and my person do start to have sex regularly, like it does kind of put me in another mode of like, all right, like I'm her man. You feel what I'm saying? Like I'm her, she mine. And so in a way, it does kind of change people sometimes.
Yeah.
Shit, it changes you.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does. But I feel like also too, like my experience. Like one day I was just sitting back reflecting, right? Like I never truly been happy in a relationship. I've never been truly happy like with myself, and I always used to try to find like happiness in a person. And it's just like even like with my walking with Christ and things like that, I feel like I'm understanding who I am and the things that I need.
Yeah.
Because the things I was looking for in the guy, I was looking for things that only Jesus could give me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm looking for Jesus in a man. And it's just like,
Can I tell you something as like a friend?
yeah.
From what I've heard, from the stories that I know of the niggas that you've dated,
Yeah.
I feel like you have a tendency to go after niggas that you feel like you aren't supposed to have.
Really?
Or like, how can I say that? Like, not necessarily that you're not supposed to have, but like niggas that like, I know what I'm trying to say.
That somebody I don't supposed to be with, or
Yeah,
okay,
like,
yeah,
yeah, like,
okay,
if a nigga was like, all right, everything he's supposed to be like by the textbook, you know what I'm saying, a good man, da 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 da, this, that, and the third. I feel like you really wouldn't be interested in that like that. You know what I mean? But if a nigga had like a few good things, it's supposed to be there, but he got a few little things that's wrong with him.
basically, I want to fix a man. And that's true. I used to be like that. Like I always dated broken men because I feel like I can quote unquote fix that person, which is and also too it's just because of my low self-esteem in myself, because I dated people the way I view myself, because it's like at the end of the day I feel like I need somebody to validate me in a sense. So if I can build this person up and he can validate me, it's like okay, cool, like this is cool. But it never worked out. Never worked out.
Yeah.
I always dated a guy that was like below the bar in a sense, and it's messed up. And that's why I'm saying like my relationship with God has like reprogrammed me. I don't even like.
I hope these niggas don't see this, God.
Oh yeah. But I'm so sorry, but I did. And people, I would never forget this time. I was in high school, and I remember this guy. He was like, I was dating this hood guy, and people, if somebody gonna see it, they gonna know who I'm talking about. And they was like, you have no business dating this guy, because it's like why? Like, why are you dating this person? But you gotta think about it. Okay.
He's on your Sky Jackson shit.
Yeah. Oh my God. But also too, and this goes back to like your foundation, where you come from. My dad was like, quote unquote, like grew up in the streets. So I grew up in a household with a very, very, very like quote unquote like masculine man, not in touch with his emotions and things like that, the way he operates. I literally was dating guys like my dad.
Yeah.
So just like I only did what I saw. So it literally took me to like move away from Memphis, move away from Mississippi, go to Georgia, and be around people I never thought I would have hung around before, to like understand, to see myself and see how toxic I was and how my environment was toxic as well. So just like,
Yeah.
you know,